Supercar, with beauty and grace, fast as can be, watch it flying through the air. It travels in space or under the sea, and it can journey anywhere. Supercar, Supercar, it travels on land or roams the skies, through the heavens' mighty range. It's Mercury band and everyone cries, it's the marvel of the age. Supercar, Supercar, Supercar!
Charlie Queen, this is station DWJ calling Charlie Queen. Emergency, require immediate help. Repeat, emergency, do you hear me? Over. Charlie Queen, do you hear me? Over.
It's a good thing we had this checkup. We don't want any trouble tomorrow when Supercar is on a mission for the State Department.
I guess it's quite an honor that Supercar has been chosen to carry him on this important mission.
We're over Black Rock now. Opening roof doors on remote.
Charlie Queen, will somebody please answer?
Mitch! Oh, Mitch, you smoked all my best cigars.
Mitch seems to be excited about something, Jimmy.
Yeah, I'd better go and see what's wrong with him. What is it, Mitch? What's bothering you?
Guess he must have heard something over the speaker while we were away.
It would seem so, Mike. But from whom? We aren't expecting any calls.
Charlie Queen! Calling Charlie Queen! I haven't much time. Will any station hearing my call please answer? I am desperate. He'll be back soon. Please help me. Please answer me. Oh!
You've been a naughty boy again, haven't you, Hopkins? I'm going to have to lock you up in your cage again.
No, please, sir. Not that. Not that again.
Well, that's great, Doc. So you've actually located the spot where that call came from.
Well, only approximately. Lucky they left their transmitter switched on for a few moments, so I was able to track it.
I must say that is the first time I've actually heard anyone calling Charlie Queen.
Who's Charlie Queen?
Charlie Queen, Jimmy, isn't a person. It's a code name.
But what does it mean, Dr. Beaker?
Well, Jimmy, anyone hearing Charlie Queen knows that the man sending the message wants to make contact with another radio station. Any station that happens to be listening in at the time.
Okay, Doc, cut the explanations. There's a guy in some sort of crazy situation who needs our help.
But, Mike, it may be a hoax. And you've got this important assignment tomorrow morning.
The call came from somewhere around Petersville, which is only about 300 miles from here. We could be there and back within an hour.
Well, what are we waiting for? 13,000. 15,000.
Interlock operating.
Roger. Interlock on.
Emergency charge. Fireboat.
Opening roof doors, Mike. Say, where's Mitch, Professor?
I don't know, Jimmy. Please don't worry about this now. Let's get Mike away and then we'll look for him.
I'm sorry, Professor. Roof door's open.
Thank you, Jimmy. Half boost vertical. Height 3,000 feet. Changing to horizontal flight.
Roger, Mike. Call again when you've landed.
Roger, will do.
What do you think they'll find, Professor? Do you really think there's a man in a cage?
I don't know, Jimmy. But I have a feeling that Supercar is heading for one of its strangest missions.
Mitch! Mitch! Where are you, Mitch? Professor, I just can't find Mitch anywhere. What do you suppose has happened to him?
Oh, don't worry, Jimmy. I expect he's around somewhere. Maybe he's playing on the roof. He often does, you know.
No, Professor. I've looked up there.
Supercar to base. Supercar to base. Do you hear me?
Excuse me, Jimmy. Mike must have arrived at Petersville.
Supercar to base. Supercar to base. I'm approaching Petersville. I'm landing near the town at the spot suggested by Dr. Beaker. We'll call you again in about half an hour.
Roger, Mike. Good luck.
Hold tight, Doc. Going down.
Now, if my calculations are correct, Mike, I think the place we are looking for will be about half a mile south of here.
Look, Doc. There it is.
Yes, Mike, that must be it. It's the only place for miles around.
Yeah, and there's the radio aerial on the roof. Gee, this place gives me the creeps.
I wondered if anyone lives here.
Well, let's find out.
Oh, no reply.
Let's try again, Doc. And remember, play it cool.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. It isn't often I get visitors up here. Can I help you?
As a matter of fact, we are conducting a survey of all amateur radio stations in this area, and we couldn't help noticing your antennae.
You do have an amateur radio station here, don't you?
I know why you've come. Let's be frank about it. You received a distress call.
So?
Well, now, won't you come in and I'll explain it all to you over a hot cup of coffee?
Well, fine, Mr.
Karloff. Professor Karloff.
Hey, what do you make of this guy, Doc?
Well, he seems pleasant enough, Mike.
Yeah, but his explanation better be good about this distress call.
Mike, we are being watched. Behind the curtain.
Okay, come on out with your hands up. I'll give you 3 seconds to come out. 1, 2, 3.
Mitch!
Just in time for coffee.
I see I have another visitor. I'll get another cup.
Well, Mike should be calling any moment now.
I sure do hate waiting, Professor. I wish I was with him.
I know what you mean, Jimmy. I often feel like that. Tell you what, Jimmy, how about making some coffee?
Sure thing, Professor.
That was a delicious cup of coffee, Professor Karloff. Most unusual flavor, but delicious.
And now, Professor, you were going to explain how a radio distress call happened to be transmitted from this house.
Yes, Mr. Mercury, so I was. But it doesn't matter now, because, you see, in a few moments, you will hardly be able to hear me. The coffee you all have so enjoyed was drugged.
Drugged?
Yes, gentlemen, drugged. Soon you will be in a deep sleep. And then my experiment will begin. You'll soon be having some little friends, Hopkins. My second experiment has been a success. And now, all I have to do is to put my new formula into the main drinking water supply of each city. And bit by bit, the whole of the American continent will become a land of miniature people. And I shall be their leader. Hey! Wake up!
Oh. Hey, what goes on around here? Say, is this some sort of crazy dream?
I'm afraid not. Let me introduce myself. My name's Hopkins. I'm Professor Karloff's assistant. At least I was.
Were you the one that transmitted that message?
Yeah, that's right. But it looks as if all I've done is to make matters worse.
Good heavens. What's happened? Where's Mike? Mitch? I've shrunk. But it's impossible. Quite impossible. Mike! Mike!
The other end of the bench, Dr. Beaker.
Oh, thank heavens he's still alive anyway.
So the professor tried out the formula on you and succeeded in reducing you to 1/3 your normal size. And now he's got this crazy scheme to turn America into a land of miniature people with himself as their leader.
That's right. And the thought of so much power has affected his mind.
Yeah, he's crazy, all right.
Mike, what's happened to us?
We've fallen into the crazy professor's trap, Dr. Beaker. And this situation is going to take some getting out of.
Well, Jimmy, it looks as if they've met with some trouble. We should have heard from them by now.
What are we going to do, Professor?
Well, let's give them another hour, Jimmy. And then, if we don't hear, we'll go and investigate ourselves.
Quiet, Mitch. Well, Mitch is all right, Mike. Apart from his size.
Oh, great. Now, come on, Doc. We've got to work fast. We've got to get help. We must try and get a message to the laboratory.
It's no good, Mike Mercury. The professor's put the transmitter out of action.
He fixed the transmitter, did he? Well, now it's up to us to repair it, isn't it? That cable, Mike, that cable must lead to the transmitter, which appears to be somewhere under the bench. Mike, you and Mitch keep watch. I'll go down and see if I can fix the transmitter.
Okay, Doc, but be careful. If It's a long drop down to the floor.
Well, here goes, Mike.
You okay, Doc?
Yes, all is well. I found the transmitter. Now, all I've got to do is to get inside it. Don't make too much noise. The professor will hear you. Okay, Mike. I'm inside the transmitter.
Good for you, Doc.
Satisfactory. Most satisfactory.
Well, Jimmy, they are obviously in trouble. Let's get the truck out and drive over there right away.
Okay, Professor.
Okay, Mike. I fixed it.
Good work, Beaker. Supercar Lab. This is Mike Mercury calling. Supercar Laboratory. Supercar Laboratory. This is Mike Mercury calling. Do you hear me? Over. Supercar Laboratory. Supercar Laboratory. This is Mike Mercury calling. Do you hear me? Do you hear me?
How long do you reckon it'll take us to get there, Professor?
Now, let me see. We've been driving for about 3.5 hours. I should think another hour will do it, Jimmy.
You know, Professor, I'm still worried about Mitch.
Oh, don't worry too much, Jimmy. He'll turn up. Our main concern is Mike and Dr. Beaker at the moment.
Let's analyze the situation, Doc. You're sure the transmitter was working when I tried to contact the Supercar Laboratory?
Quite sure, Mike. Quite sure.
So we can only assume that the professor and Jimmy guessed we were in trouble and are on their way over. Check?
Check. You must warn your friends, Mike. Otherwise, they'll fall into the same trap.
Oh, it's too late. We've got to think up something else.
Well, Professor Karloff has a formula that could restore us to our normal size. But I'm afraid that my scientific knowledge isn't great enough to enable me to understand it.
Now, wait a minute. You may not understand it, but I'm sure Dr. Beaker would. Where is it?
In the formula book on the bench.
Beaker, you have approximately 1 hour in which to make up this formula.
Shh. Quiet. It's Professor Karloff. Just behave normally.
Ah, I see you've all settled down nicely. Just behave yourselves, and you'll come to no harm.
Now, Jimmy, when we get there, we'll probably find that the message came from a house.
Yeah, and we'll know which one, because it'll have a big antennae on the roof.
That's right, Jimmy. We don't want to arouse suspicion, so I suggest that we pretend that we are conducting a survey of all amateur radio stations in the area.
Gee, that's a swell idea, Professor. Then they'll invite us in, and we can find out what's happened.
That's it, Jimmy. Let's hope it works.
Satisfactory. Most satisfactory. 0.5 gram sodate hydresium. When you've done that, Mike, we need to heat some water and with the process of hydrolysis produce 10 fluid ounces of vaculin.
Okay, Doc. I'll light the Bunsen burner. Hey, what time do you make it?
Oh, dear, Mike. It's 10 minutes after 9 o'clock. The professor and Jimmy will arrive soon. We must hurry.
We must hurry, Professor. They could be in danger.
This isn't Supercar, Jimmy. I'm doing my best.
Satisfactory. Most satisfactory.
Yep. So far, so good. What next, Doc?
What next? Yes. We now have to mix the liquid with the chemicals that you have measured out and then pour onto it some tryptophane. The mixture will then automatically ignite, and when the flames die away, we will be left with a jelly-like substance. It is this jelly-like substance that will restore us to our normal size. We hope.
Tryptophane. Glycerol, memsanol, crystalline, citronate, potassiumyl hydromic acid, morphinol. No tryptophane, Doc.
No tryptophane. But there must be. It says so in the book.
It isn't here, Doc, unless it's in a bottle unlabeled. Do you know what it looks like?
I'm afraid I don't. I must confess, I've never heard of it before.
That's great. Without it, we don't have a chance.
We are 3 miles from Petersville, Jimmy. This is roughly the spot. We'll stop here and take a look round.
Look, Professor. There's an old house over there with an antennae on the roof.
Yes, Jimmy, that's probably it. We'll drive up there. Now, we must be very careful. Leave all the talking to me, Jimmy.
We can go no further, Mike, without the missing ingredient.
You mean we've done all this work, and because we can't find the tryptophane, it's all been wasted?
I'm afraid so, Mike. The mixer is useless without it.
Beaker, unless we return to normal size, we are powerless against Professor Karloff. Do you realize that he could crush us in his hand?
Yes, Mike, I realize. What worries me is that the Professor and Jimmy are in danger, too.
Yeah, and by the sound of it, they've arrived already.
Now, Jimmy, don't forget I do all the talking.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening. We are conducting a survey of amateur radio stations in this area, and we noticed the antennae on your roof. You do have a radio system here, do you not?
It's them, all right.
No doubt Karloff has invited them in for one of his special cups of coffee.
Hush. Listen, Doc.
This way, gentlemen.
Thanks, Professor Karloff.
Quiet, Mitch.
He's heard Jimmy's voice, Mike. It will be very difficult to keep him quiet.
Tryptophane.
I beg your pardon?
Tryptophane. That stuff Mitch dropped into the bowl must have been tryptophane. Look at your finger, Doc. It's normal size again.
Good heavens! The formula is complete. Oh, good old Mitch.
What do you make of it all, Professor?
I really don't know, Jimmy. Let's have our coffee, and then I'll start asking 1 or 2 questions. Oh, hush, Jimmy. He's coming back. I must say it's very good of you, Professor Karloff, to take all this trouble.
It works, Doc. You're back to your normal size. Come on, Mitch. It's our turn next.
Did these other gentlemen tell you where they were going, Professor Karloff, when they left you?
Now drink your coffee while it's hot, and I'll tell you all about it afterwards.
Of course it ruins coffee not to drink it hot. Come, drink up, Jimmy.
Don't drink it, Professor. Jimmy, put it down. It's drugged.
Mike!
Mr. Hopkins, I've got to leave immediately. I have to fly to Washington within the hour.
And I've got to go too, Mr. Hopkins. It's an important flight that Mike is making, and we have to be in the control room. But I'm sure that you can look after Professor Karloff until the police arrive.
Leave him to me, Professor. I'll take good care of him. Our visitors have certainly made a mess of the lab. Still, I'm glad they came. Aren't you, Professor? Oh, never mind. The police will soon be here, and then we'll bring you back to full size again, so that you'll fit into a full-size jail.
Supercar, supercar, with beauty and grace, fast as can be. Watch it flying through the air. It travels in space or under the sea, and it can journey anywhere. Supercar, supercar, it travels on land or roams the skies through the heavens' mighty range. It's Mercury Man, and everyone cries. It's the marvel of the age. Supercar.